Hi guys, Chika here. So I'll be standing in for Pisom this video. She's taking a rest, right? And I would be continuing her series on friendship, right? She's going to be asking me a few questions, and I will try to answer them as truthfully as I can.
First question. How did you meet Piso, if you remember?
In school, she was in prayer force and I was in the evangelism team, and our offices were very close to each other, right? The exact like meeting point, I don't think I remember, but I just know that I feel like wisdom, a friend of ours, might have played an important role in it. But yeah, I think that was how we met. We met in school, very close offices, and maybe one day we just saw each other and struck a conversation, and it is what it is.
Okay. What do friendships mean to you?
All right, what do friendships mean to me? That's the tough question. I think friends are very important in that they ground you, right? Going through life alone is a lot, and everybody's all about like romantic relationships, but I think like all your relationships matter, right? And then friendship even more, because they are there with you through like many different phases, and they can sort of overlap into different things. So what does friendship mean to me? Basically community, support, a backbone when you need it, right? So yeah.
Would you say guy to guy friendships are different from guy to girl friendships?
Yes, I think the dynamics of same-sex friendships are different from opposite sex, right? I fundamentally believe that men and women are different. We think differently, we experience life differently, and so a lot of things, we have different expectations, in society. So yeah, it's definitely different, definitely different. I'm trying to give what I would consider an example of that difference. Okay, I'll say so. I think there was a reel I saw once about like how a wife was talking to her husband, and he was like, oh, he just hung out with his friend, right? And his wife was asking questions like, oh, I would like, did you hear he had a child, or did you hear about this, or did you hear about that? And he was like, oh, they didn't ask any question, they just hung out, right? And they had fun. And so they basically hung out, didn't talk. Like we can go calling each other chairman for like 2 years, and then we see each other every day, we play ball together, and like they will show up for your marriage, or show up for your dedication, but like the information they will have about you is not all that. But I feel like maybe with ladies, you have attention to detail is a lot more important, right? You need to know things, you need to hear things, you need to say things. So I think dynamics are just different. Yeah.
Would you say female relationships are high maintenance compared to guy friendships?
So I think it's not gender specific, right? I think different people respond different ways to different things, and that determines whether they are high. Depends on what you also define as high maintenance. I think when you say high maintenance, like something from a Friends episode came to my mind, but so I think it's just a different dynamics, right? I have guy friends that are a bit extra, right? And I have female friends that are not, they're very low maintenance, right? So I don't think it's gender specific, but maybe if you want to go statistically, maybe. But in my experience, I think it might be split, right?
This was mentioned in a previous episode that when she started dating, you gave her space. Can you share your side of the story and why?
Yeah. So I think having a lot of female friends, I had in different ways, I had seen people's boyfriends respond to me in like weird ways. So when I was in secondary school, a friend of mine had this boyfriend, and then I also want to mention his name, but like I don't think they will ever get here, but just in case, right? And then something had happened between him and his babe, right? And he came to me and was just like, Chika, every time, advisor, informer. So apparently his babe they had been arguing about something or having a conversation, and then they weren't in sync. And she just said, oh, I don't know why you don't understand. Chika will understand. And it's like flags went up in his head. He was mad. And he came to meet me, and he was very pressed. And I think going forward, in my head, I was just like, yeah, maybe just for, to be honest, in that case, I didn't want him to be with her still. So I'm just like, please, this boy is not a great guy. But anyways, so I think from then, just even thinking of, myself in a relationship, and then like, how do I want my partner relating, like just thinking of how my partner would feel, right, with my friendships. And then I think, okay, maybe with this we need to have a bit more space, right? Yeah, they know we are friends, but I think I make space for you now. So I think recently I was talking to somebody about her friend was moving, and all of them ladies had gone to help her move, right? And I was like, doesn't she have any guy friends, right? Because a friend of mine had also moved, and then I was helping her with things. So in my head I was like, why would a lady be moving all by herself, right? And they were like, oh, she doesn't have this, that. And then I was just reflecting on my own friend that was moving, and I was helping. I had helped her with a few things, right? And for some reason along the conversation, right, I was just like, if this person had a boyfriend, I probably wouldn't do all that I'm doing now, right? I would be involved, of course. Oh, where can I help? I would help here and there. But I feel like many of the things, like I have done, if you had a partner, I'll be like, oh, please let him do it. I'm not involved here, right? So yeah, just just asking yourself, okay, how would I feel, right, if this was my partner and looking at this relationship, or how would even my own partner feel? And putting yourself in other people's shoes just helps me. And then I just felt like it was a healthy boundary. Like you are starting a new relationship, focus your energy on this man. Let him just focus. I'm not going anywhere, right? Even if you go and I probably here, so focus on your partner. And I think that was what rang in my head.
So, since we're talking about relationships, segue, you had a number of female friendships. Would you say feelings never get involved? Or, okay, let's rephrase the question. Have you ever had a crush on a female friend of yours?
On live internet? Yes. Not a lot of times, but it has happened a few times, right? Because somebody will say, if you end up dating somebody, it's not your friend. I mean, people say I married my best friend every time, and I'm just like, so, right? Because if you're friends, there are, you have common things aligning between you. You have common interests. Maybe you share the same set of values, right? So it makes sense that sometimes giving the right amount of communication, attention, feelings can form. And I think Pastor Chisom said it in a former video, where you have to have healthy boundaries, right? If you're calling somebody for maybe 8 hours the entire day, you're always talking to them, they are your only support system, they are your everything, feelings can tend to form, right? And again, this person is you have common values, you have all the ingredients are there already, right? So sometimes it does happen, right? What you choose to do with it is up to you and your friend. Yeah.
How have you been able to maintain your, like, you have great female friendships. How have you been able to maintain your friendships? Like, what would you say to somebody struggling to maintain their friendship because they have a crush on their friend, like, based on your past experience?
Interesting. That's a very interesting question. So in the singular situation, I would share that that situation has happened. I think we had a third party friend, right? That could sort of, make things less awkward, right? That could sort of help balance things out here and there, and give yourself space, right? I think if you had feelings for somebody, like, and now maybe for one reason or the other, you have to let go of the feelings. You need time, right, to package yourself, get yourself back together, and move on from that. So there should be space, right? I think there should be ample space. Give yourself some time. Maybe don't check in as frequently, right? There's also the tendency that the friendship doesn't remain the same, but give yourself space, give yourself time. When you feel like you are ready, I think you can come back to it, right? And if the love is the love as friend, like platonic love, right? If it's as strong as it is, I think you guys should be able to retain your friendship nonetheless. So I think.
Okay. Before the final words, are there boundaries you live by in your male-female friendships?
Boundaries to live by. So, I think the one about dating, like once your partner is dating somebody, right? I think also in like physical boundaries, you should just people you can cross into friends with benefits. Very, like, people are talking about emotions, right? Sometimes you can skip that and jump into something else, right? So I think physical boundary is also healthy, right? Just know that there's some things we don't do, right? I feel like it's slightly awkward, right? Especially in Christian circles. Maybe in the people of the world, you can easily bring up those things. Maybe you're already a wobe person, and so I can bring that up with you. But in Christian circles, it might be tricky, right? Because once you bring that, you'll be like, am I into you like that? But sometimes, like, you might have to intentionally say, like, some settings, right, are not appropriate for friends. Even if not for what do you call it, even consecration or anything happening, just for people viewing from outside, right? So that people don't misconstrue things. Now, people will always do that, but sometimes don't give them the ammunition they need, right? So physical boundaries, right? And again, if you don't want to catch feelings, don't call the person 24. Like, put in boundaries how much you talk, right? Put in boundaries with that. I think another thing would be boundaries on arguments and disagreements, right? Like I said, guys can be very easy. Like, we can sweep things under the rug, we can move on. Can be, it's not always. Like, some people hold grudges too, right? But with ladies, sometimes, like, you have to figure out what works in your dynamics, what you need to say. You need to clear the air now so that it doesn't become bad later. Try to avoid the silent treatments in what you guys are doing, right? So don't block people out. I don't think that's a male female thing. That's just any relationship. Don't just, if you're disagreeing, just, nah, I'm not talking to you again. Those things are drama. Like, avoid drama, right? And just like it's you and this person. I know we say this for like marriages and all that. It's you and this person against the world, or you and this person against whatever issues they are facing, right? So always know that your friend is your friend. Don't make an enemy out of. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Any closing words?
Any closing words? To Pastor Chisom, I finally came on the podcast. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know if there's any other thing. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't to the Light From Podcast.